available inventory decreased again for the sixth week in a row. Let's talk about that and more in this week's segment of Market Watch. Hi everyone, it's Joshua Barks here, associate broker with Keller Williams Realty Boise and the Barks & Co. Real Estate team. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's segment of Market Watch. If you're new to the channel, we talk about what's going on in the Boise area housing market on a week-over-week basis. And then once a month, we go into a deep dive into the market dynamics for both Ada County and Canyon County. This week, it's just our simple weekly update. And this week, I'm also not going into extra information about is the market going to crash and things like that. I talked about that a bit last week. So if you're interested in taking a look at that, you can see that. Link to that's going to be in the description below. This week, let's just keep it simple and go over numbers. So first off, inventory dropped again, and it's the sixth week in a row that inventory has declined. In fact, we have 655 active listings in all of Ada County, which is down from the all-time high this year, 6 weeks ago, of 928 active listings. Last week, as you might remember, we had 706 active listings, so still down by more than 50 overall. The number of new listings that came to the market this week is up slightly from what we had last week. We had 145 new listings come to market. Last week, we had 140 new listings come to market. Now, even though inventory is dropping, demand is staying very consistently strong. In fact, we have more than 150 homes pending. No, I said that wrong. We have 150 more homes pending than what we have active. So we have 809 pending right now compared to the 655 active. And we have 823 that were pending last week, so we're down slightly from that, but the week-over-week numbers are up slightly. So we have 207 homes in the last 7 days that got an accepted contract. The week before, we had 205 homes that in that 7-day stretch go under contract. So we are up slightly in week-over-week demand, but overall, you saw that come down, and that's because we saw a big push for sales this week, which is expected because you know how I talk about how the end of the month and the beginning of the month are usually the highest number of closings. Well, November is kind of a funny month because that week is the week before Thanksgiving typically, and that's what we saw again this week. So we had 163 homes sell last week. This week we had 204. So as people are getting in, they're having a big push to get into their new home for Thanksgiving next week. So that's incredible. Sales are staying very consistent. And yeah, demand, we have 809 pending compared to 655 active. So we have high demand, low supply. What does that mean? Prices are likely going to continue to appreciate. Though, again, we're not going to see them continue at this crazy pace likely, at least hopefully that's what we're thinking. Interest rates this week actually climbed back up to almost where they were after dropping significantly last week. So last week, they were just under 3%, and this week we have them at 3.10%. So up a tenth of a point, a little more than a tenth of a point, according to Freddie Mac's research. And 2 weeks ago, it was at 3.14 for the high, and then we had a dip, and then now we're basically back up to where we were with that. Rates are projected to continue to rise, not significantly, but modestly through the end of the year, as well as through 2022, though likely stay relatively low. And when you're talking about like prices again, we're likely not going to see prices continue to rise, not 30% a year. That's not comprehensible. But what we're saying is we're likely not going to see a drastic reduction in prices anytime soon. We might see the average sales price come down a little bit as we reach kind of this plateau stage. The reason for that likely is as more entry-level homes come on the market and fewer higher-end homes sell, we're going to see that average sales price come down, even though prices are still generally appreciating overall. Now, when we're talking about if you're preparing for next year, especially if you're preparing for next spring. Now's a great time to actually sit down with your real estate professional. We would love to be interviewed as well. But now, the reason now is a good time is because you can actually get your ducks in a row. And if you have a home to sell and you have some work that you want to get done, or as we typically recommend, just, give it a little bit of a cleanup to make sure that it really shines when you're ready to go on the market. Now's a great time to work on that through the winter. You're not rushed, and you get to enjoy some of the things that are being fixed up. And with that, then you can go on with confidence in the spring, knowing that you took the time now to just take care of that and you don't have to rush. Not nearly as much. And then on the buying side, right now is a great time to start getting your financing in order to make sure that everything's set there. And we also have a good time to start looking at what's out there. And I'm not saying physically looking because you're not ready yet, but starting to keep an eye on what's going on in the market, what's coming up in the price range that you're looking at, so that when you are ready, you actually have a really good understanding of what's available in your price range and hopefully have determined what a good home for you would be. So that's kind of what we have for this week. Inventory came down. Demand overall came down, but week over week is up slightly. And the number of home sales came up slightly, as well as interest rates. If you have any questions about anything we covered today or any real estate questions in general, just let me know. My number is 208-914-1095. And of course, you can always visit my website. We have some great resources there. And if you're interested in scheduling a meeting with me, I've mentioned this a few times before, but you can also schedule a time to meet with me directly through my website. We have a booking service on there, so you don't need to reach out to me directly in order to get an appointment with me. All you do is go to www.barksrealestate.com/our-services, and that gives you a choice between, I'm a buyer, I need help being a buyer, or I'm a seller, I need help being a seller, and you get to choose a time that's convenient for you. We can meet either at my office or via Zoom. All of the technology is available. You just fill that out and bam, it puts it right on my calendar. So you get to see what my availability is there. And of course, if you have any questions not related to necessarily meeting with me right away, but you want me to cover stuff on future videos, leave a comment or email me. Let me know. I want to make sure that I can be a good resource for you guys and answer your real estate questions and hopefully help you out when it comes time to make good decisions in real estate. Okay, well, that's what we have. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Since we're going to see you next Friday, I hope everyone has a fantastic Thanksgiving as well, which is coming up next week. Wow, can't believe November's pretty much over already. And here in a couple weeks, we'll be able to go through the deep dive into the market dynamics for November. And you'll get to see everything that's taken place there. And we'll compare that again to what took place in 2019. Okay, that's what we have. Hope everyone has a wonderful day, great weekend, and happy Thanksgiving.